What's up everybody, Maran here for another weekly update. So there's lots of exciting news to go over this week. And the first story here is from Autocar. So they have a new report this week claiming that the next gen version of the Mustang coming in 2022 as a 2023 model year vehicle will be getting an all-wheel drive hybrid V8 option for Europe. They claim it's going to be Europe only. I think that if Ford does anything for the Mustang, it'll be global. And if they're doing it for Europe, we'd probably get it here in the States as well. But anyway, their supporting evidence for this claim is a patent that Ford actually put out that ended up online January of 2019, so over a year ago now. And so it showed a V8 engine that had electric motors and a hybrid system attached to it. And so this was revealed back then. Everyone thought, well, we know a hybrid version of the Mustang is coming, and so this must be for that. And so it's totally possible that we won't see this till the next generation version, but this patent got me thinking. And so moving beyond that Autocar story, just doing my own little speculation here, I started kind of lining things up. And so, we were hearing about the Mach 1, and I talked about that in last week's update video, and you can go watch that, where it's been confirmed a Mach 1 name is coming in VIN documents, and that the GT350 is most likely going away for the 2021 model year. And so back in 2018, Ford officially promised us a hybrid Mustang coming in 2020, and they said that it would have V8 power and even more low-end torque. That's their quote. So a lot of people back then thought V8 power meant that it would have like a 4-cylinder engine but have V8 power levels. But then this patent came out suggesting they are doing some type of hybrid setup with the V8 engine, meaning, it's just building on top of the performance you already have with the V8s. And so some things, do get delayed, especially these days, but if they were always planning on having this thing launched in 2020 all along, and they've been telling us that for the past 2 years, it's seemed to have kind of, been forgotten by a lot of people. And I just remembered, yeah, we're supposed to be getting a hybrid Mustang. And then on top of that, we know the Mach 1 name would be good timing as far as doing a hybrid version, because obviously you have the Mach E now. And so if Mach is going to represent electrified within Ford, at least in the Mustang range, then a Mach 1 being a hybrid could blend in nicely with a Mach E being full EV. So there's that whole thing, that I've kind of just been putting together in my head. And, the VIN document last week only showed a second V8 engine, and it was a 5-liter, and that's all we knew. There wasn't any of the details associated with it like you had with the other V8 listed on that VIN document, which makes me think they deliberately left stuff off or kept it vague, potentially in case it got leaked out like it did. So we'll have to see, according to that VIN document last week, the engine code for the V8 that was listed there was for the Bullet motor. And so we know the Bullet isn't returning for the 2021 model year. So my guess is maybe they'll use the Bullet engine combined with this hybrid powertrain to bump us close to that 530 horsepower number that was rumored potentially for this new Mach 1. And instead of, doing the traditional hot rodding stuff to get the motor to 530 horsepower, you have 480 from the Bullet motor, and then you add on an extra 50 horsepower with an electric motor, similar to the thing they were doing in the hybrid versions of the Explorer and the Lincoln Aviator and all those types of vehicles, and, do something around that. And that would give you, again, V8 power, but even more torque, thanks to that electric motor, and more horsepower probably. But so that's just my speculation. Also, if the GT350 goes away, obviously having basically the Bullet as a starting point for the Mach 1 and then adding all the hybrid stuff and all-wheel drive potentially could really, make things a lot more expensive. So if you have this Mach 1 being a $60,000 car, if the GT350 is gone, then you have no competition within the Mustang lineup. You have your normal Mustangs going up to about 50 or so, maybe a little over 50 for the convertibles, fully loaded, and then you have this Mach 1 at 60, and then you get the GT500 at 75 or so starting price for those. So it would make sense from a hierarchy standpoint. And one last little thing to add is that you might remember when Ford teased the original Mach 1 name and was associated with the teaser that happened at the Detroit Auto Show in 2018, teasing the Mach E. But back then, the video shows an Explorer and a Mustang going into the workshop and having it electrocuted, and then this a teaser of a vehicle that runs out of the shop, and then they flash the Mach 1 logo. And of course, back then everyone was upset, like, what, are you going to have an electric SUV called Mach 1? Ford rebranded it as Mach E, or that's supposedly, the way we think things went is that, Ford officially never acknowledged that the Mach 1 name was supposed to go on the SUV. So what I'm thinking is maybe this video was teasing two cars all along. Maybe you had the Explorer Mustang component to convey that there was going to be a Mustang SUV coming, which was the Mach E. But then actually at the end of the video, whenever the garage doors open up, and I'll link the video above, when the garage doors open up and the vehicle emerges, you hear a V8 engine start up first, and then you hear an electric whir as something goes away. And again, Mach 1 we know is coming. We know Mach is electrified in Ford's lingo these days, and we have the patent that's been around for a couple of years now. So maybe we'll see something sooner than the next gen version, like Autocar is suggesting. Maybe we'll see something here in the next couple of months, an all-wheel drive hybrid V8 Mustang. Now, unfortunately, it would almost certainly be automatic transmission only, but who knows, maybe if Ford wants to be extra awesome, they'll find a way to pair it up with a manual. But even just the idea of a V8 all-wheel drive muscle car is awesome. Dodge fans have been wanting that for a long time out of the Challenger. So far, they've had an all-wheel drive V6 version, but they haven't been able to work it out with the V8. So if Ford can beat them to the punch, that would be very interesting. So again, lots of speculation on my part, lots of leaps that I'm taking here, but it all seems to line up in my head. We'll have to see what they end up eventually doing here with the Mach 1 name. Hopefully we'll find out sooner rather than later. But again, Ford's got a long backlog now of cars they need to reveal. They need to reveal the new F-150, the Bronco Sport, and then this Mustang and the whole 2021 Mustang lineup eventually as well. So whenever Ford decides to finally drop all this stuff, it's going to be very busy as far as Ford news goes. But anyway, an interesting little thing there, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on my take on all that in the comments below and if it makes sense to you. Another cool thing, while we're talking about concepts and speculation, is that there's this new Rampage illustration put out officially by FCA, but it was put out as part of their Drive for Design contest they're doing on social media. And so FCA's head designers are going to be the judges of this competition for all those aspiring car designers out there. And so they put out this sketch to get people's imaginations flowing. So obviously this is nothing they're planning on making, because if it was, they would not be teasing future product with just a blatant picture. So I don't think they're planning on making this, but I think they totally should. Not only is it awesome looking, and I think would be a very cool niche that I think would actually have more demand than they realize if they actually put it out there. I think if you build it, they will come. But also it'd be very easy to do from a parts bin standpoint. You have all the parts you need basically. All you have to do is, custom cut out the back end of a Challenger and extend it to fit, a normal bed you get from any of the other, small FCA stuff like a Gladiator truck bed or something like that. Throw that in the back of there. And, have the Challenger performance with a truck. I think that would actually do very well. And I think that looks awesome. Let me know your thoughts on that below. But maybe if enough people really love it, maybe FCA will consider doing something like that. A sweet truck that unfortunately is being delayed but will eventually come is the Rivian R1T. So that was supposed to start production this December, but they announced and confirmed to the Chicago Tribune this past week that the retooling of that plant in Illinois has been delayed due to the virus, of course, and that means that the trucks aren't going to be starting production until sometime in 2021 now. So how long it gets delayed depends on how long this whole thing lasts, of course. But I would guess safely, mid-2021 launch for the Rivian now. And so it's a little bit unfortunate, but they sound, obviously they're very secure in their funding. They got backing from Amazon and Ford and stuff. So this will happen. It's just a matter of, them being able to get the workers in there to get the plant all ready to go. But that means that it's another electric truck reveal coming in 2021. We're pretty sure the F-150 EV is coming that year. Also, the Cybertruck, I think, is coming, end of 2021. So lots of busy electric truck stuff. That'll be the theme of the year for next year is electric trucks. But anyway, interesting to hear that. One truck that isn't delayed and also isn't electric is the new Nissan Frontier. So Autoblog is reporting that there was a roundtable interview with executives. I'm not sure when, since no one can get together right now, but I guess there was a roundtable at some point recently with executives, and during this, Nissan said that the 2020 Frontier, that's the old version with the new engine, that's still on track to go on sale this spring sometime. And so the actual next-gen version of the Frontier, they said, is also still on track to be revealed by the end of this year is their plan for that one. And Nissan's powertrain expert did add a little interesting nugget of information during this interview here. And they said that the 3.8 liter V6, that new engine in the Frontier, is actually part of the VQ engine series family. And the VQ engines, as any enthusiast knows, is the same motors that power the 350Z, 370Z. 370Z obviously used a 3.7 liter version. The Frontier used a 4 liter V6 previously. This new one is a 3.8. So a little bit more of a higher displacement. Obviously, it makes less than the 370Z motor because it's tuned to be a truck motor. But anyway, the fuel efficiency for this new engine, they also announced this week, and in its most efficient configuration, it'll do 18 miles per gallon in the city and 24 on the highway, which is about 1 to 2 mpg lower than the Colorado and the Ranger currently. But they did add that the new Frontier, the next-gen version, is going to be lighter and more aerodynamic, so that should probably help bring those fuel economy averages to be at least exactly the same as their competitors, if not slightly better. So that's interesting. But again, this got me thinking. This VQ motor got my my head spinning here again. So thinking about that engine being a VQ motor and the fact that it's a 3.8 liter, that could be a nice little improvement for the Nissan Z. Previous next gen Z rumors were saying that it was going to be using the Infiniti Q60's 3 liter twin turbo V6, which would be a fine motor as well with 400 horsepower. But, there might be some people that want a naturally aspirated engine still in the Z, and especially since we just saw a couple of weeks ago the new Z logo is looking very retro. Maybe they want to stick to like an old school thing with a naturally aspirated V6 instead of going higher tech with the turbo V8s. Although obviously turbos can be retro with the 300ZX and things like that as well. So we'll have to see. It could be both engines as well. And there's no other speculation from anyone else that they'll actually use this motor or a version of it in, any kind of new Z. But just an interesting thing there, could help spread out the cost of it. If you're developing it already for the Frontier, you make some changes to it for the new Z and still have a purist, naturally aspirated engine. Could be kind of appealing. We'll have to see. But again, just me spitting out speculation for the heck of it. But anyway, Nissan did confirm to Automotive News that the next-gen 2021 Nissan Rogue is also on track to hit U.S. showrooms this fall, they're claiming. And so it seems like everything at Nissan's on track. I don't know how, but it is. And so thanks to a bunch of patent images, we now have pictures of what it looks like here. And these were leaked from the Brazil Ministry of Economy. So these patent images came from their patent office. And looks more rugged, and that's almost certainly going to be very popular with shoppers who like buying into this off-roady thing, even if it is just a very comfortable commuter vehicle. So anyway, cool to get a first glimpse of that, and it sounds like we'll see the official reveal of the new Rogue here sometime in the next few months. And this week the mystery continues in regards to this whole mid-engined Hyundai sports car they've been working on forever and ever that was based on a Veloster originally. And so this week the Korean car blog got a picture of this new prototype that looks similar to the RM19 mid-engine prototype that Hyundai's been working on, again, for about 8 years now. And so I can't show that new image here, but I will link it in the description below. But it's another Veloster, but on the back it has this writing that says MR23T written on the back of it. And so according to Korean car blog sources, they kind of got some info on this vehicle. And this car is supposedly another prototype for a mid-engine sports car. And this one is running a 2.3 liter turbo motor, makes sense with a 23T name, and combines it with an electric motor that's going to be doing 80 horsepower on its own. They're suggesting that this could potentially be close to 400 horsepower with the gas engine combined with the electric motor. So whatever it is, it's going to be mid-engine, 400 horsepower, and according to the website sources, the final car that they eventually will build on this platform will look nothing like a Veloster. So it's not going to be a mid-engine Veloster. It's going to be some type of cool sports car, and that'll hopefully be a good competitor to the Cayman and the C8 Corvette even. We'll have to see how they price it and stuff, but sounds promising. Just hopefully they show us something soon so that this actually goes somewhere and isn't just some project that they have in the back of the Hyundai parking lot forever and ever. But anyway, cool to see that. Some actually pretty big news this week. Honda and General Motors had a joint press release that they put out explaining some new developments to their partnerships. They've been partnered for several years now. They've been partnered on hydrogen cars since I think like 2012, and they've been working on all kinds of stuff, electric cars and automated technologies and stuff all throughout the 2010s here. And so this new press release that was put out by both of them this week confirmed that Honda has 2 electric cars or vehicles coming that are going to be using the new EV platform and Ultium batteries that GM showed off a few weeks ago. So Honda's using GM's platform, just like how Ford and Volkswagen have teamed up, and Ford's going to be using Volkswagen's electric platform for some of their models. Also, it sounds like Honda and GM are getting together. And so the models are going to be arriving for the 2024 model year. So we're still probably, about 3 years away from even seeing anything of this, but they are going to be designed for the United States and Canada. So this is going to be cars for us. Previously, Honda has the E that's very awesome and retro looking. That's only for Europe and Japan, and they're not bringing it here. And so it sounds like they're doing specific stuff for us, and it's going to be using these huge battery packs from General Motors. I mean, the General Motors stuff, it's going to be used in the Hummers and all kinds of crazy stuff. And so I doubt Honda's going to be using anything that's that crazy. That platform has the capability of doing 3 seconds 0 to 60s, doing 300 plus miles of range, all that kind of stuff. We'll see what Honda ends up doing, but the only details we have here are that Honda has said that they're going to be exclusively designing unique exteriors and interiors, and that the platform will be engineered to support Honda's driving character. So Honda's doing all the suspension tuning, all the exterior, all the interior. So this isn't going to just be a GM electric car with Honda badges on it or anything like that. It will be, very, very different. It's just, this is something you're going to have to get used to seeing here in the 2020s. It's very expensive to develop these electric platforms, and so everyone's going to be getting together with everybody else, and there's going to be, lots of different variants of these same platforms. And it makes sense considering all electric cars deliver their power basically the same, and so there's going to be very little driving difference. It really is going to be a Lego kit of, what body do you want to put on top of this platform, and just that'll be it, which is kind of a bummer, but it's not quite that bad yet, and this is just in its infancy. But other details here, they say that these Hondas will be built in General Motors plants in North America, and Honda said this partnership will unlock economies of scale to accelerate their electrification roadmap. They also revealed, and this is something totally unexpected, but they revealed that these electric Hondas will be actually using GM's OnStar technology, which is the safety thing that comes on if you crash and stuff, as well as the Super Cruise system from Cadillacs. These electric Hondas will have Super Cruise, which is the best news of this whole thing in my opinion, because Super Cruise is hands down the best automated, cruise control system, and is the only hands-free version that actually does it safely and responsibly and well. And so honestly, I wish every single car on the market had Super Cruise. And so this is excellent technology. I'm super happy that it's going to be, they're unlocking it and allowing Honda to use it as well. I think it's just going to be fantastic. And so yeah, great news there. It'll be very interesting to see how that develops here in the next few years. Mercedes is continuing to develop their EQS electric flagship sedan, and Autocar has a new report with some new bits of info in it. The first is they claim that, of course, an AMG version is coming, and they're speculating it's going to have about the same power as the current S63 AMG, which would put it at 600 horsepower and 663 pound-feet of torque, which is nothing to scoff at, but I feel like it could even be more power if they're going after Tesla and stuff. Tesla already has way more horsepower than that in their current, Model S models and stuff. So I feel like they'll go higher than that, but this is just what Autocar is reporting from their sources. But they also say that many aspects from this concept version are going to be carrying over as well, including the black grille, the 22-inch wheels you see there, and the 3.8-foot glass display, which is this massive displays you have all throughout the vehicle there. So that'll be a pretty big wow factor if they actually have all that stuff. Lastly, though, they report that Mercedes is going to be using its Formula One brake regeneration system on the EQS to provide levels of kinetic energy harvesting under braking far beyond those of existing road car systems. Meaning that even if this car only has 320 miles of range, like Autocar is suggesting it might have as far as real world range, it could help regain a lot of that range if it actually can recharge the battery a lot. You can't get much electricity back, with the current systems. Tesla and stuff, they do a decent job, and if you're doing a lot of downhill driving, you can, get a couple miles here and there. But if this is really as impressive as they're making it seem, you could have you know, a good amount of that come back if you live in a place like I do here where it's a lot of hills and stuff. It could be really helpful. Or if you're in stop and go traffic, things like that, you regain a lot of that. That'd be cool. So interesting to hear about that. Couple other little stories this week. Mazda has revealed their 100th anniversary editions of most of their models here this week, and they all use the snowflake white pearl color combined with a burgundy interior. And it looks awesome on the Miata, especially combined with the red roof, and you can't get a red interior in a Miata usually, so that's going to be a cool combo. And Mazda hasn't announced how many are going to be coming to the US due to the whole uncertainty with the virus and stuff, but they were supposed to be arriving this summer, so we'll see, you know, how many of these they end up making and stuff, but interesting there. Lexus has announced a few updates here for the 2021 LC 500 this week, and so the biggest change is it's now lighter, losing 22 pounds of unsprung mass by swapping on lighter rear wheels, aluminum lower control arms, lighter springs, and hollow anti-roll bars. There's also retuning done for the shocks and the rear stabilizer bar, and they also added active cornering assist, which now brakes the inside wheels for better handling, kind of like a torque vectoring thing. And Lexus says the ride is now smoother as well, thanks to some of these changes. The transmissions for both the V8 and the hybrid models have now been retuned to be more responsive and more smooth. And aside from the driving stuff, Android Auto now joins Apple CarPlay as standard equipment. Apple CarPlay was added last year, and you can now have the Nori Green Pearl that was on a special edition last year. That's now a standard color for 2021. You can also get this new cadmium orange color that's available, and there's going to be a new 20-inch forged wheel you can get here, which I think is that chrome one you're seeing there. What hasn't changed on the LC 500 is its gorgeous looks. It is still one of the best looking cars on the market, in my opinion. I could drool at all these pictures all day. They are just, oh man, that's a beautiful thing. And the convertible version's coming this summer, and that gives you the glorious V8 soundtrack without a roof. Oh man, this is by far the best thing Lexus makes, in my opinion. But anyway, no info on any pricing changes to compensate for all these additions. I'm guessing there'll be some type of bump. Not sure how much, but it'll probably be worth it because losing all that unsprung mass will only help the awesome driving dynamics the LC 500 already has. So anyway, great to hear that. And Audi has revealed a Nardo edition for the RS3 this week for America. And so they only showed us one picture of it, unfortunately, so you have to use your imagination for the rest. But it's, of course, painted in Nardo gray. The main features are that it has a 19 mile per hour higher top speed. So it now goes up to 174 miles per hour. I'm guessing they just removed a limiter there. And it also swaps the adaptive magnetic suspension that's standard on these for the fixed sports suspension, which is already a no-cost option on a normal RS3. So basically it's just the paint and the higher top speed, and that's it. So it doesn't sound like there's much difference here, but the main appeal is going to be its collectability. These things, considering how rare they are, will probably rarely get driven. There's only going to be 200 of these coming to the United States, and they say they're arriving now, but all of the dealerships are closed, so I'm not sure how you're going to be able to get one until everything opens back up. But anyway, only 200 of these things, so very rare, but looks great in the Nardo gray color. The last bit of news this week, more good news. Mini has announced that the manual transmission is returning for the 2021 model year. So for the 2020 model year, the manual wasn't available just because they had some powertrain certification issues. I'm not sure why, because nothing changed for 2020. But anyway, they weren't able to offer the manual for 2020, but it's back for 2021. It's again standard now on the Cooper, the Cooper S, and the John Cooper Works versions of the Mini. Unfortunately, the awesome GP model is still automatic only, since it's based on a BMW and they only pair it up with an automatic, unfortunately. But great that they have the manual coming back there for all the other versions of the Mini. And I think they have a pretty decent take rate on manuals for Mini, so I think that it's worth keeping around for them, and I'm glad to see that they're keeping the manuals alive. So great news there. But yes, that's it for all of the news this week, guys. So let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. Thank you guys very much for watching. Please continue to stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.